Welcome to a Command & Conquer cast between Gun Maverick, totally not sponsored, in the yellow with USSR, versus in the blue on the other side of the map. We've got AOD Gaming as the Germans, so allied. Minigunners coming out over here, and same thing here. I don't know what level Gun Maverick is, but I mean, it's supposed to be a relatively long game, and it's AOD Gaming who is super good, so should be a high level player as well. Anyways, over here we have AOD Gaming spidering on over to the first Tiberium field over here, and is probably going to prioritize these crystals because they give double the economy. Over on this side though, well, slightly faster for Gun Maverick to actually get up the refinery. Probably because of the second power plant at first, I would imagine. And scouting for both players is not amazing yet. Though that of course does make sense on such a large map. AOD over here is actually going to prioritize the crystals as expected, and over here it seems like the same thing happened. War Factory now out for Gun Maverick, should probably get up at least a couple of war trucks first, and then go into like heavy tanks, I would imagine. Over here, Minigunner's force is moving out, War Factory is also out, which will also be like ore trucks at first, and then probably a mix of like light tanks and medium tanks. Scouting, yeah, I mean, it's almost good for AOD, though for that they would of course need to move this minigunner forwards a little, which is a little bit difficult. And here we have indeed heavy tank after ore truck. Over here we've got double ore truck and then light tank. Alright. By now, yellow has already harvested like almost 5,000 more. It's 11,500 versus 6,900, nice. So, yeah, it makes sense that they have a lot more cash in the bank. Should be able to expand from there, and also saw that repair pad just being sold off. Is seemingly going for like higher tech levels. Something I do always like to see, just because the standard heavy tank, or like standard light tank, is not always the most fun. Over here, light tanks are running through, and more ore trucks are being bought. Should probably allow, should allow AOD Gaming to catch up in economy, I would imagine, because there is only 2 ore trucks over here. However, secondary construction yard. Okay, so that's the power plant gone. They are now like 70 in the minus in terms of power. But was that worth it? I mean, it slows you down. But do you really think that like 20 or so minigunners is worth it to take down just 2 power plants? Not really, right? So, light tanks now moving through are getting hit by the Tesla tower, not focusing it, and therefore it is at least a little bit efficient. I guess that was a good reason to go after the power plants first, just because that way the Tesla doesn't do anything. But then you should have been quicker with your light tanks. I mean, they already bought another power plant before you could actually hit them with light tanks. So slightly unfortunate timing, which led to you being hit by the Tesla tower anyways. And now medium tanks. Not really as much as a mix as I was expecting. More like one wave of light tanks than one wave of medium tanks. Right. Construction yard over here and here are both still up. Should allow for super fast expansion, though it does not actually look like that. I mean, they will be harvesting over here. Maybe they're still microing the ore trucks, looks like it. Because from, well, what I've seen when I played, they don't really like to just automatically go for the Germans. Radar dish is now out, and unless you want to use it for radar, which also makes sense of course, especially on a large map like this one, you probably want to sell it before it gets targeted by AOD. Though, now that I've said it, it doesn't really make sense because they've already run away a little. But back when they were still over here, it would have been a prime target. So, war trucks did go down, which is a little bit of a problem for Gun Maverick. Though heavy tanks are stronger and are way more numerous than the medium tanks from AOD. That could be a problem, especially if you just sit them over here, letting them get killed pretty much for free. That's not great. More economy coming out for Top Gun now. However, it's 38,000 versus almost 50,000 for AOD. They definitely did catch up with their economy. Another proxy base over here. Do this time at least a useful one. Because let's be honest, this one was so close to the base anyways, it didn't really make sense. I mean, it wasn't really for like good expansion. And over here, this could be a bit of a problem for either player who does not micro. As long as the medium tanks are being microed, they should be able to deal with the heavy tanks, otherwise in equal numbers the heavy tanks should win. And well, heavy tanks seem to want to retreat at least a little bit in order to just reinforce, because of course closer reinforcements, which is great. Next up though, I mean, this is a lot of economy. Triple refinery over here, there is more over here, light medium tanks are still coming out. Though this is still a problem, right? AD, you have less tanks, you have fewer tanks than the enemy, and your tanks are not as strong. Using minigunners as like a meat shield normally would work, however, as long as the tanks are being targeted, it's not really that useful. Especially not in Red Alert, because people keep moving their tanks in order to like get you to miss. In Tiberium Dawn it's of course a little bit different, where a meat shield is way more effective. Because at least people have to either drive over your units or shoot, which isn't really the case here. So, over there, well, economy is still being reduced, and that's a decent amount of medium tanks now. And because not all of the heavy tanks are engaging, it should be decent for AOD. However, the closer they get with the other heavy tanks, the worse it gets. Though of course now I do think that AOD has a slight advantage when it comes to reinforcements, though not that much. However, does now have a higher amount, they have more tanks on the field, at least in this part of the screen. So should be able to deal with the heavy tanks quite okay. And if they're able to set that forward into the enemy base, because there isn't a lot of defense there, it should be decent. I mean, they should be able to cripple the economy. So if AOD wins this fight, and it looks like they are doing that, they should be able to just go in here, because they have faster tanks. So the tanks from Top Gun Maverick are actually still behind once AOD gets to the enemy base. They should be able to take down like a couple of war trucks, maybe the refineries themselves. Though AOD, and you have to keep moving. By now the heavy tanks have already caught up. Also, I said it, but I'm not completely sure if medium tanks are actually that much faster than heavy tanks. I mean, they even have the same base, so it wouldn't make that much sense if they are actually that much faster. Though I do think they're slightly faster, right? Well, that's one power plant gone, that's another power plant gone, they're 20 in the minus now. However, they could be in positive power once the war factory goes down, indeed. Now though, I mean, that's a lot of tanks again, though not as many as AOD has. So AOD, either keep moving or kill all of the tanks. It's both fine, I would say. And with your economy, you should definitely be able to keep this up. Taking down the war factories would be the end for Top Gun Maverick. So, well done that you made it this far into the video. Consider watching the video in your lower left, but that's all I'm going to have for you today, and I'll see you in another video. Bye. 80,425 harvested for Top Gun Maverick, 130,600 harvested for AOD Gaming.